Right, so hi everyone. What you just saw is a video of myself driving here from Connecticut, and my name is Manolis Finarolakis, the founder and creator of RealityCrowdTV, a reality TV show about the crowdfunding movement. And you guessed it, we are going to crowdfund it as well. So I actually met Chris through Facebook, and we met also at a Rich Dad education class way back when. And he saw everything that was going on with RealityCrowdTV, and that's why I'm here. And I want to let you all know that I actually don't consider myself an expert in crowdfunding, but because this is such a new concept, I want to share with all of you that anyone right now can be considered an expert in this field. I don't consider myself an expert, and that's why it's crazy that I'm even up here right now, but I'm excited to just share with you what it is exactly, because a lot of people don't know about it, and there is a lot of things going on in the federal government right now that's going to make it applicable to small businesses. So by a show of hands, and my friend, if you don't mind actually holding it up, because I'd like you to scan the room as well.
Okay.
By a show of hands, who knows about crowdfunding before you saw my flyer? Just raise your hands. And you scan the other side of it. Okay. So a good amount of you actually know about crowdfunding, which is great. So you guys are ahead of the curve than a lot of individuals. I did a short GoPro video poll in a Starbucks the other day, and 7 out of 8 people actually said they've never heard about crowdfunding. So in this room, you guys are, about 50% of you know. So in a nutshell, let's talk about what crowdfunding is. You have a crowd of people who believe in the person's idea, project, or business idea, and they're willing to back that person with their financial resources because they believe so strongly in that person's ideals. It became popular through a website that is known as Kickstarter.com. And Kickstarter.com is what is known as the rewards-based form of crowdfunding, meaning, the best way to do this is, let's say I'm an artist, and I want to create a beautiful CD with the music that I have, my musical talents. But to create that beautiful CD, I need $5,000 to pay a professional studio, of which I currently do not have. So as an artist, I'll say, I can either give up on my dream, or I can go to Kickstarter.com, set up a project profile, and essentially what I could do is I say, I need $5,000. I'll tell my friends, my family, and then random people who are cruising the internet to donate money toward my dream. But in exchange for that, you're incentivizing them with a reward. So in the artist example, they need $5,000. Let's say for a $25 contribution, they will offer you the finished CD that they're needing all the money to raise before that they created. So they're promising you something that they don't have finished yet as an incentive to actually raise the $5,000 they need. Does everyone follow me so far? Okay, so you might think that's crazy, right? But Kickstarter.com, since 2009, has funded 55,000 projects by 5.5 million unique contributors and raised over $960 million, one website alone. I mentioned Kickstarter because they're the king right now. At the end of 2013, $5 billion as a whole, the industry as a whole raised $5 billion. In 2009, it was only $1 billion. 2013, $5 billion. World Bank issues a report. The next 20 years, they're saying $90 billion globally in the next 20 years. So the government says, my God, all this money is being raised through donations. No one's getting a piece of the company. No one's earning a return on investment. They're just getting a nice little trinket in exchange for helping someone live their dream, which I think is beautiful too. But the government, literally, they said, if it works for donation, can it work to spur small businesses? Can it work to spur job creation? And what they did in 2012, they passed the 2012 Jobs Act, which had 2 provisions that said, let's apply crowdfunding to small businesses to raise their capital that they need. And so these 2 provisions were Title II, Equity Crowdfunding, and Title III, Equity Crowdfunding. And in a prior life, I left my job on Christmas Eve. In a prior life, I was an auditor, so I kind of understand these financial topics. But by no means do I consider myself an expert on the legal aspects, so I'm I'm not going to get into the legalese, but what Title II crowdfunding is, it lifted the requirements on general solicitation of accredited investors. Previously, you were not allowed to generally solicit accredited investors for capital, and now those requirements have been lifted, and if you're interested in learning more, the technical term is Rule 506C. So you ask an attorney, Rule 506C. That is the general solicitation of accredited investors for investment, whether it's a business, whether it's real estate, whatever the investment is, Rule 506C. Talking about real estate, here's another website you want to write down because this is someone using that rule specifically to raise money for real estate, and they've raised $10 million so far in a very short period of time doing it. RealityMogul.com. And by the way, just to do something nice for REIA, anyone who has a smartphone, can you go on like Facebook, Twitter, whatever, just do hashtag REIA, hashtag RealityCrowdTV whenever you get a chance. You guys can do that for social media purposes. So, another website to write down, which is using a different form of funding that is actually very interesting too, fundrise.com. As in fund my property, fundrise.com. They're using Regulation A. So write down Regulation A is another thing you want to ask an attorney about. Now, general solicitation of accredited investors means that they have a database full of accredited investors. They're getting individuals who have these big real estate deals, and they're allowing these people with big real estate deals to post their deal on this website, on Realty Mogul. But in order for you to post the deal on the website, you have to have a track record of syndications or big deals under your belt. So unfortunately, I myself have never done a big deal like that. I own a 4-unit property, but I don't own a huge property. So I don't qualify. But this is where you individuals like myself who don't qualify, if you know someone with the experience, you educate yourself on how to crowdfund, you team up with them to help them do it, you now get syndication experience under your belt. I'm trying to get you guys to think of, since no one knows about crowdfunding, anyone can be up here tomorrow if you do the research. I heard about it October 23rd when these rules came out of 2013. 3 months later, I'm up here talking to you guys. So I'm trying to tell you guys that this is the golden opportunity that you can get in before it's even possible. And I'm not selling you anything to get into, I'm just selling you the information that I hope one day you'll follow our progress, and then one day I'm going to go on Kickstarter.com and raise money for my reality TV show. So that's all I want. Eventually I'll hope you'll donate to my campaign when I run it, but it's not going to happen until March. So that's the only sell I want from you guys, maybe donate one day. So here's the more exciting piece though, because it's still only general solicitation of accredited investors. October 23rd, I'm sitting in my cubicle with the Hartford Insurance Company, and out pops another press release from the Securities and Exchange Commission. And I never check these things. I'm an auditor. They pop into my inbox. I just happen to read this one for once. And the most amazing thing is being proposed, and the comment period just ended. Just to give you guys a little understanding of how something like this works, when the Securities and Exchange Commission issues something to the public, they give the public 90 days to read through it and actually comment. You could send them an email and post your comments to the questions that they ask you. This document was Title III Equity Crowdfunding, the rules around how this would work. 585 pages of regulations. So that's why you need an attorney. But the point is, you'll see why I'm so excited, because when there's a will, there's a way. What they did was this. In 1933, during the Great Depression, in order to protect hardworking Americans who lost their shirts from the rampant fraud, they said the only investors who are allowed to invest in a company are those people who are known as an accredited investor. Because they said the wealthy are more sophisticated than the rest of us, so we don't want people who are not accredited to invest in a private company. So what is an accredited investor? An individual who makes $200,000 a year or is worth $1 million in net worth. Flash forward to 2013, We have the internet. We have Google. People can look up things that they've never would have dreamed of back in 1933. We have so much information at our fingertips. And the government actually got something right. They said, you know what? Americans have information. Americans can get certain information at their fingertips, and they're able to research things more than they were back then. Long story short, they lifted the accredited investor requirement for crowdfunding. There was only 8.7 million people in America today who qualify as accredited, meaning wealthy. There is 300 million people in America. They just said, no more accredited investor requirement. Now a pool of 300 million people can potentially invest in a company, whether it's real estate or otherwise, to raise money through crowdfunding. That's Title III equity crowdfunding. You need to write that down. Title III equity crowdfunding has now expanded the pool of available capital from 8.7 million Americans to 300 million Americans. So let's go back to the Kickstarter model. Remember when you donated to a project and you received a reward? Now, when you make a contribution, you're either buying a direct share in a company raising money on the website, you're buying an equity share, or you're lending them money to do whatever they're trying to do. They're creating a stock market for public companies without all the regulation of a stock market. Take that in. They're creating a stock market for private companies without the regulation of public companies. They're going to create a secondary market, meaning you'll be able, when you buy these securities, just like the stock market, they're going to create a secondary market where you can freely buy and sell from other people. They're giving the power to the people. And I have a theory, and I told Chris I wasn't going to go into this, but I think I will because I enjoy sharing this theory. If the American public is lending money and the American public is capitalizing business, who's not making loans anymore? Banks. Banks. Why doesn't the American public know it? Banks. At least in my opinion. So, I'm on a crusade now with RealityCrowdTV. And RealityCrowdTV, I'll tell you what our mission statement is. It's to inform, educate, inspire, and motivate entrepreneurs worldwide to start small businesses through crowdfunding and to provide them with a blueprint on how to crowdfund. And so our show is going to be education-based, and because crowdfunding is pervasive among all industries, including real estate, that's why I wanted to come speak here tonight to tell you that crowdfunding in real estate is happening now. Crowdfunding in real estate, in fact, is going to be huge. Another gentleman I interviewed has a website that he's creating. I think it's fundthatflip.com. Fundthatflip.com. I actually don't think he's got it ready yet. It's literally brand new. But he's thinking of funding flips. Having a crowd of people come in and fund your flip. You put your property online you want to rehab, suddenly you're raising money and you're funding a flip. So think of it. There's a lot of regulations. It's not going to be as easy because there are compliance costs. But if the American public doesn't know about it, and if the American public doesn't try to see if this is viable for them, how can the regulations ever get workable if they're currently too difficult? Some people think they are. I personally am an optimist. I think that when there's a will, there's a way. And you'll find a way to do it if you really want to do something. But when you have a big group of people coming in and really excited about something, and they try it, and suddenly they realize it may not be too practical, that's when a law changes, and that's when something like this becomes accessible to the Main Street Americans who this was made for in the first place. And, you know, it's something that's going to change, I think, the way everything's going to work. It's going to democratize financing, and because I'm looking for other people to kind of help me prove some concepts, if any of you have ever done syndications, or if any of you need help just to learn more about crowdfunding in real estate, I'm willing to help in any way that I can because I need to prove some concepts here. So I'm willing to share with you what I know at no cost so that we can do something great together. I'm also willing to help people as interns potentially to learn about this crowdfunding, learn what it takes through social media, learn what it takes through all this. I'm willing to teach you because I need a crowd of people to make a big change. So all my information is free. The only thing that I ask is that we all just work together and make something big happen in crowdfunding and get more Americans knowing about it. So just to stop talking, like I'm a politician. I feel like I'm a politician. I apologize. But one thing I would say is, how can this work in real estate? So I wrote something and I thought about this. The bird dogs of today will be the crowdfunders of tomorrow, because the bird dogs are finding all the deals. Now they might be able to actually bring the deal to a funding platform that's going to raise the money, and now they're actually the ones organizing the deal and getting the investors coming in. So the bird dogs of tomorrow could be the bird dogs of today could be the crowdfunders of tomorrow. Wholesaling, and actually real estate in general. In a contract right now, it's subject to bank financing. I foresee a time where it says subject to crowd financing. I see that happening. I see the whole real estate sales model adding a new funding source, because that's what this is. I see promotional companies who focus on real estate in general helping to drive traffic to crowdfunded investments, because crowdfunding, for no matter what you're trying to do, is only going to be on the internet. The only way that you can actually exchange shares is through the internet. So I foresee people who become experts in social media and create promotional companies, or experts in PR who help people promote these crowdfunded fundraisings. And now they have a business that they're supporting the industry with. In other words, whatever traditional skills you have, you can incorporate it to help people and position yourself as, I am a PR expert in crowdfunding. I am a social media expert in crowdfunding. I can help you as a huge investor crowdfund your real estate investments. So no matter what your business is today, your full-time job, you could really incorporate what's about to happen here in America into your daily life. And so I'd like to open it up for questions. I'm sure you all have a lot of questions. So, and this is, by the way, this is the largest audience I ever spoke to. And also, the way that I learn, if you guys understand it, is if you guys ask me questions. And because it's so new, I'm sure everyone has the same question as you.